Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for One Piece episode 897. And that's right, I'm back, guys. After 2 weeks of going through filler, I'm back. Yes, I said this briefly, but the reason is as to why you guys haven't been getting One Piece anime reviews from me for basically the past 2 weeks is that honestly I'm pretty much I'm trying to ration the time I pretty much I spend reviewing the One Piece anime. I'd rather focus the bulk of my energy on on a on the canon episodes over the filler episodes. Like the filler episodes themselves are enjoyable, but they're not like a top priority in order for me to review. The filler episodes are honestly just enjoyable fluff. That's the best way to put it for you. But yeah, guys, let's get into it. So first off, through a very fast-paced exchange that could be easily be considered a throwaway conversation, we not only get confirmation that basically Kitetsu, the Master Swordsmith, is Hitetsu's ancestor, but that Luffy now has one of Kitetsu's swords, Kitetsu the Second, in his possession. And there's two things with that. First is that with Luffy's reunion with Zoro at the end of this episode, I think it's inevitable that from Zoro is gonna wield Kitetsu the Second at some point. I think he's gonna and this is something I kind of talked about, like I briefly touched on in the manga, but with this revisiting this and knowing where the manga is now, I think I've got a better idea as to when we're gonna actually see Zoro end up using Kitetsu the Second. However, in order for me to actually talk about it in the anime, I definitely have to hold off on pretty much talking about it at least until we get introduced to a certain character or something like a certain character, because until we get introduced to this character, I'm going to be giving away spoilers. The second thing is with the reveal that basically Hitetsu is Kitetsu's ancestor, and looking back on this moment, it kind of makes me wonder if the circumstances that are basically surround Tama getting sick is because of his family's cursed legacy. I mean, I don't think, and I'm not saying pretty much Tama actually getting sick as part of the curse. Like that in itself was basically Tama on her own. But in terms of the story, I don't think Oda ever clarified that the Kitetsu curse was restricted to the weapons crafted. I think what happened with Thomas pretty much so easily getting sick under Hitetsu's watch is that it it's probably one of those things where it was just complete unfortunate luck of not having anyone nearby, anyone who basically Hitetsu knew in order to treat Tama. I think her getting sick obviously is probably her own doing, but everything surrounding the idea of there not being a doctor to help her, or Hitetsu himself not being versed in any kind of medicine or anything like that. I think it's just just everything surrounding just Tama's current situation. I think that's basically the Hitetsu curse working its magic almost. Now, pacing-wise, the episode in itself was definitely a mixed bag. Mostly in the first half, as you could clearly tell, they were padding out a lot of that first half, especially the ride on the lion, the ride on the lion. However, one thing I will say that Toei did in order to make up for that is that up for the first half was basically how they handled the atmosphere of Tama letting the reality sink in that Ace truly is dead, and that and just seeing Tama, just hearing the music and seeing Tama coming to grips with the fact that yes, Ace is dead, he's not coming back. It felt like a genuine grieving moment, and the somber tone really added that extra weight in order to make it feel honestly very relatable and even realistic. Like pretty much the way that pretty much Tama had reacted after coming to terms with Ace's death. It's something that I think we can all relate to as something that we've had very like emotional grieving moments like that in our life. So yeah, it was it's a very relatable moment. I will admit that the probably the humor part of Tama basically picking at Luffy and just beating on him in a comedic way. I think that might have ruined the moment a little bit, but it was a little bit, but it was overall it was still just a very emotional scene, and that I liked. One now. Now, with that said, one thing. Now, there is one thing to definitely take a special mention of in this episode, which is that, and one thing I personally really liked about this episode is that the anime, believe it or not, actually made a very welcome change from the manga, which is basically how the scene of basically Zoro saving that woman whose name is Suru, by the way, was handled. In the manga, it was a. In the manga, that's pretty much whole scene of Zoro saving Suru. It was a scene that happened that was far away and at a distance. Like with Zoro saving Suru, it was a scene that happened like at a distance in which we couldn't necessarily see exactly what happened and the details of the rescue itself. But here in the anime, Toei actually showed us an up close and more detailed look at Zoro's rescue. So at Zoro's rescue of Suru. So. This is actually a very rare point where I have to say the anime definitely did a little bit better than the manga in that sense. So yeah, just even if it was just a very small scene, it was still nice to it was still a very nice and welcome change. Honestly, like it was still a very nice and welcome change. Honestly, and. Yeah, it's one of those things that I never really thought about. I would have liked before, but yeah, just getting that one small scene of actually seeing how Zoro saves Suru. Yeah, it was a nice change for sure, and so yeah, definitely thumbs up and good on you, Toei. Now the flip side of that, however, is that this is one episode where the art and animation definitely took a little bit of a nosedive this week. I mean, there were moments where it was good, especially in the last few minutes, but compared to other episodes, it's definitely one of the weaker ones. Even honestly, even the two filler episodes I skipped reviewing had better art and animation overall than this episode, and which, yeah, honestly, I don't know as to why they put so much work into that one, but yeah. Now, to be fair, like I said, there wasn't a whole lot going on in the episode, and with the setup, there wasn't a whole lot going on in the episode. So I think that more than likely is basically the reason for the dip in quality. And honestly, with the setup of Luffy and Zoro preparing to fight Hawkins, I think it's probably a situation where Toei probably knew going into this episode that it wasn't gonna have that they knew going in that they would probably have to save their best animators for next week, because yeah, with that setup of Luffy and Zoro preparing to fight Hawkins, I think we can expect a definite step up in the art and animation and quality next week, because yeah, this whole episode, art and animation wise, it did feel like one of those times where Toei knew going in it wasn't going to look great, so they just decided to save their like best animators in reserve for next week's episode, where the art and animation quality, the better art and animation quality is going to be needed almost. But yeah, guys, that's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Crunchyroll. Death Night of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.